Hey, this is Reginald, Perryman, Reggie'sRealEstate.com. Today, I'm going to break down this deal that was sent to me by a wholesaler. We're going to analyze this deal and see if it makes sense. So this particular deal was sent to me as a BRRR deal, which was smart for the wholesaler because what we look at is look at the price point, location. So they're asking $17,000. Estimated rehab 20 to 30,000, and ARV is 70,000. So what we always have to consider when we're looking at these deals is really what is the truth in regards to the ARV on these projects. So we're looking at the acquisition cost of 17,000, purchase price, renovation costs. I haven't seen the photos yet. They sent comps. So photos would be very important. Unlike the last deal we received where there were over almost 40 photos on a property, can help me quickly estimate what it might take to fix and repair the property. So here ARV is 70,000, and that's what I want to question today. So first, I know the area, so 17 is not bad. And if you're doing a BRRRR strategy, so one thing that this person did great was they didn't present this as a fix and flip, because for this area, there's not really a lot of demand in the area for $70,000 homes in this immediate neighborhood. So let's take a look here. So what I did was I went here and I looked at the property within a half mile, properties that sold. So you can see down here that there's roughly 16 properties. This may be too small for your screen, but there's 16 sales in the quarter-mile radius within the past 365 days. Based on our current market, those are not good stats. That means only approximately about 1.2 homes every month or something like that have sold. We look at what's currently pending, and pending we have 2 pending sales, and we look at what's active on the market. So there's 11 properties active on the market. So when I look at what's currently active, now keep in mind this property here is 90,000, it's been on the market 71 days. It's probably going to be up for a price reduction. Pretty good property, newer roof. They did some updates here. This is a full brick structure compared to this property, which is frame. I don't know if you can see the photo, but this is a frame property. Roof seems to be decent. So when we look at this comparable, then the next property drops down to 69.9. It's been on the market 24 days. Looks like a good clean property. Looks like it's probably owner occupied or already occupied by a tenant. Just needs to be cleaned up. Bathroom is a little dated, but overall not a bad property. Needs some work, some updates, and some maintenance. But it's been on the market 24 days. Full brick structure. So when we're talking about ARV on these properties, we want to look at what the market is telling us. Here's a frame property, 60,000, just came on the market 7 days ago. Here's another property. Now this is what else we have to look at. This property was listed at 64.9, been on the market 90 days. They've done a price reduction to 59.9. So I'm already questioning this $70,000 ARV that was presented, but I'm not questioning the 17,000 at all, because when I look at what else is active, starting here, the lowest price for active properties is 30,000. So that pretty much tells me, all right, so this is very important, right? You look at the previous photos of the other properties. We look at this property. If your realtor is taking photos like this of your properties, fire the realtor immediately, right? This is 90% of our listings that are presented online. 90% of the buyers come from online. And if this is the first photo they see and there's no supporting photos So you have all of these photos of the property. You can barely see the rooms, but you can't see the house. The best photo to take of a property would be something like this. I can see the entire front of the property, or even better yet, should at least show me the house, because buyers get very disappointed when they take the time to drive by a property or they pull up for a showing and there's not even a clue of what the property looked like. But this is not helping the property sale at all. But back to what I was saying, the lowest price property is $30,000, and this is somewhat poor. Well, no, this is actually somewhat fair condition. So from the photos, there's no damage, but it can use some work. So our subject property is $17,000. I don't know how much work it needs. Maybe the $20,000 would make it equal to this property or better. So without seeing the interior photos, we don't know. Square footage is 1,200 square feet. So let's look at our active properties again. Just a summary: 30,000 up to 90. Not really going to count the 90. We can. It's been on the market 71 days. It's a brick property, but even if we considered it, it hasn't sold. Let's look at sold properties here in the past 365 days. Your highest sales, so these two properties, even though they're in the same zip code, they're in a completely different neighborhood. So that's why you see the 98,000 for those properties. Then it drops down to 60,000 for a property, and then 47,000. And this $47,000 property is actually almost twice the size. This one is 2,200. The subject is 1,200, just over 1,200 square feet. This is a 4-bed, 2-bath. It sold in 28 days. Was listed at $59,900, sold for $47,000. Probably based on its condition, doesn't look too hot. Large brick structure, doesn't look like it need a lot of repairs. You can play this in slow-mo mode if you want, if the photos are going too fast. But yeah, it just really looks like it needs to be cleaned out. The kitchen cabinets and everything. Doesn't look like there's any damage, in other words. Maybe there's some that were not shown on the photo. But again, 47,000, that's making me question the 70,000. So when I look at all the comparable sales, then we drop down to 38,000. So this is what scares me about that 70,000 ARV suggested. So we go from 98. If we exclude these because they're not in the same neighborhood, we go from 60, 47, and 38. So if we selected these properties, and I'll be fair, I'll take out, I know for a fact these are distressed sales. So let's take these out here. So that lets me know the 17 is not a bad price. That's around the range people are paying for homes. Look, the 2-bedroom sold for 18, but then we had a 3-bed for 16,000. One sold for 12,000. That was actually larger than the subject. But if we just look at these and we go on the average here, so we got an average sales price of $36,500, and we will have to make adjustments for conditions of each one of these properties. So let's say, for example, this property, 1,200 square feet. This is somewhat similar, a little bit different style, but this, I mean, look, this one has newer flooring. Looks like they painted. Looks like they redid the kitchen. They didn't do anything with the carpet or anything like that. And upstairs, roof looks fairly decent. And this property is $35,000. So the question is, if I'm going to pay 17 and put possibly 20 to 30,000, which would put me at 47,000, when I can buy a property that's pretty much moving and ready for 35, it starts not to make sense. But my biggest concern with this is, if your intention is to buy this as a BRRRR property, that can be an issue because some lenders don't like to do loans under certain price points, maybe like 50,000 or so. There are some that will, but if you're going to BRRRR this and you're hoping that it will appraise for 70,000 and maybe it does and you can BRRRR it and take back out 50, great. But just based on the numbers I'm seeing, this is maybe a $50,000 property repair, and at 17,000 with possibly 30,000 into it. There's not a lot of room for error. There's not a lot of equity in it. And if you BRRRR it, you're probably only going to be able to borrow maybe 35,000 or so out of the deal. But I don't know. You tell me what you think. This is Reginald Perryman with ReggieIsRealEstate.com. I'm just going to say it's a no deal on this one for me as an investor. May make sense for somebody on a BRRRR. Definitely not a flip opportunity, what I'm seeing in the market. But leave your comments below and just let me know what you think.